but in general, for any emergency, it talks about it is the policy of the United States to prepare for the effects of EMPs through targeted approaches that coordinate whole of government activities and encourage private sector engagement. In other words, getting your churches, getting your local businesses involved in some of these scenarios and preparing those parts of society as well, which eventually they see as alleviating the stress on insurance companies that have to pay out when disasters and things happen. And you got to remember, folks, that for decades they've been having these little meetings and groups and these studies where they coordinate people from every part of every industry, including lawyers and including the Department of Justice, and they figure out paths to move forward without having to take accountability when things go wrong. And involving the private sector and all this, the federal government must provide warning of an impending EMP, protect against, respond to, and recover from the effects of an EMP through public and private engagement, planning, and investment, prevent adversarial events through deterrence, defense, and nuclear non-proliferation efforts. To achieve these goals, the federal government shall engage in risk-informed planning, prioritize research and development (R&D) to address the needs of critical infrastructure stakeholders, and for adversarial threats, consult intelligent community assets. So I could read in more of this. I've done a couple of different videos on it. If you want me to read more of this, put a one in the comments. But it basically is showing that Trump signed a lot of executive orders. I did kind of get off track there a little bit with that one, because I think I was going for that Trump signed a lot of executive orders that threaten people's livelihoods, taking additional steps to address the national emergency with respect to Venezuela. Oh, this was a good one too, from 2019. September of 2019, before they declared COVID as a national emergency, Trump was putting out an executive order to modernize vaccines in the United States to promote national security and public health. So now don't read too much into that, because truthfully, what I believe when I hear Trump, and he's tried to boast and brag about this accomplishment, but people just don't want to hear it. He loses some of his fan base when he starts talking about the progress that was made under his leadership and through these executive orders and modernizing vaccines and stuff. He actually was proud of it, and I don't see why he wouldn't want to take pride in it, because it actually was a level of an accomplishment. But for me, myself personally, vaccines aren't for me. But I can understand that in the future, if they were preparing through this continuity of government type of process and planning, which I think he was a very big part of and has been since he got into office first time, this step here of modernizing these vaccines, he probably viewed as a way of actually truly promoting our national security and our public health. Because if there ever came a time when there was really truly something that was posing a serious threat, and they actually needed these foundational infrastructure pieces to be able to produce something, whether it's a vaccine for this or a vaccine for that, or even whether it's just even a common type of an ailment type of production of something, he helped to put that infrastructure in place that no other president had been able to really do before. Now, I'm not anti-vax, but I'm not pro-vax either. It's not for me. I happen to have fatal allergies to a lot of pharmaceuticals, including vaccines. I've been vaccine exempt since I was 2 years old. So, but I'm just saying, this was another part of the system and different people that he riled up. Another one, a situation about Venezuela. I mean, I just, there's something curious about some of the narratives being thrown around about this being a retaliation event. And I think they might possibly use that as an excuse to justify going in and just absolutely and completely decimating Iran. Trump might not have started any wars this first time around, but I don't know, folks. There's a lot going on, and a lot that just begs to be questioned. And when it comes to this whole thing, failure is not an option when it comes to certain operations and stuff. So if there was somebody behind the situation that was involved on that level, then they missed on purpose. You know what I mean? And the difference between forward leaning, listen closely if you're paying attention to any of these press conferences or some of these actors that are talking now, and see if you notice too, that a lot of them, instead of saying we're moving forward, or moving forward, we're going to do this, moving forward, we're going to do that, they're saying, well, we're going to lean in, or we're going to lean forward on this, or as we're leaning forward. See if you notice that too, because I just think that tells me that there's been a shift in the internal working, so to speak, of the people in charge of some of these psyops that we're being exposed to right now. And I don't know. It just, a few curious things, more curiosities. Ray here, I don't know. Just, there's a difference between casings and cartridges. I'm just saying. Anyway, stay safe and mindful, folks. Know that I appreciate you and that you matter very much to me.